Okay, so what I have here is my little wad of $1 bills, and I wanted to make a video about alternative currencies. Presently, we have a variety of currency systems based on cash, commodities, and and other types of bartering type systems. But I think we need to take a fresh look not at our existing systems, but the potential systems, some existing systems, but potential systems that we haven't created yet. So the basic premise, if we're going to create new economic systems, is first and foremost we need to create new currencies. And in this sense, because we have the internet and we have some viable forerunners, if you will, we need to create viable electronic currencies that are new. Really, the solution to problems of inequality are to be found in the creation of new currencies. New currencies that are alternative to all existing currencies, that are free and independent, and that can be created to serve public organizations and private organizations. So, or groups or individuals or what have you. For those who might be skeptical and say, well, wait a minute, what do you mean create a new currency? What are you talking about? We already have currencies. We just have to fix our system. Well, let me give you a few examples of alternative currencies, which people don't think of them in this way, but they actually are. 401k systems that's a form of alternative currency. Paid time off, sick leave, vacation time. These are all of these, each of these are alternative forms of currency that seem to work very well in many business settings and in governmental organizations. So we already have some models existing that work for alternative currencies. But now that we have these electronic systems that can be internet-based, network-based, computer-based, we can actually create viable electronic currency systems that are potentially non-governmental and non-corporate, and that can serve particular groups more effectively than all these other currency systems. The basic premise is that exchange and trade of products and services should be possible through as many different parallel avenues and systems, including barter systems, as is practical. We don't need to create too many systems, but right now I think we just have too few currency systems that work for us effectively. But bartering systems is going to be one of the key ones to take a fresh look at. We definitely need viable international electronic currencies, networks, and economic systems that, as I said, are non-governmental, non-corporate, independent, and free of all public and private institutions, such models such as Bitcoin, Bitcoin. This is probably one of the best first steps toward this kind of system. But having a system that's free of non-governmental and non-corporate control as an alternative to those systems to help balance them out does not preclude having currency systems specifically for independent and free public and private agency currency systems, each of their own. So you see, we can create much more dynamic, robust currency systems, and we can figure out the complexities of all the exchange rates once we create the new currency systems. An important fundamental principle in any kind of new economic currency or new economic system or reformulation of what we've been doing in the past and into the future is that we must create value-based economic systems, given that really the fact remains that no matter what people say about the market being the smartest thing in the world, the best ideas, and only the best ideas, are the ones that warrant and should be given the greatest financial investment and support. And I'm not saying that some government or some private group should figure that out. I'm saying that, for instance, let's say someone like myself has brilliant ideas about science and technology, but I don't have one penny to implement idea one. Well, there should be currency systems for people like me, where I can get all of the currency, acquire all of the currency. I can put these ideas into a system that says, wow, these are great ideas, and we need to see what we can do with them, and here's some currency for you to do that. Simple as that. It should be that simple. We also need to reorient how we do taxation. Taxation should be purely consumption-based taxation. All tax systems need to be based only on consumption. And of course, there's a lot of questions there, like, do you alter the rates on certain things like, food and beverages and things like that, as opposed to other things. And you have to be careful not to go down the slippery slope, which has happened with this cigarette taxation, which is essentially prohibitive taxation. We have to be careful with those things. But that said, if we start trying to work out the kinks of consumption-based tax systems, what can happen is that the governments can get all the money they need with a minimum of interference in people's personal and private economic and financial lives. And I think that the economy will be more robust as a consequence. There's something else, and this is financial services. I mean, no matter how you cut it, if you create any currencies you create, you're always going to have financial services. We can create systems where we don't need banks or governments, that's possible, but you're still going to have some sort of processing systems, computers, possibly financial services organizations. And I think that the problem with the way corporate financial services work is they don't work in the right way. The correct way for financial services to work is that all fees must be only transaction-based. So I'm not saying that, I'm not sure the correct way to implement that. Is it every transaction, just a small percentage? I can't say, but it has to be clarified which transactions should, but definitely not this kind of recurring monthly fee stuff which whittles away people's accounts and savings. And also, I think it's intrinsically more fair if you have transaction-based fee structures for financial services. It means two things. Number one, the larger the transaction, the larger the fee. Okay? So basically, it helps to encourage people to make smaller transactions and more transactions and less of the larger ones. And so what happens is it actually is an indirect encouragement for small investments or investments in small kind of businesses and what have you. And it may have some interesting benefits if we tried it and really implemented it. The main point of creating alternative currencies is not just to do it for the sake of doing it, because, this system works, doesn't work, let's try to fix it and make some new ones. I think that's part of the whole point, but we need level playing fields in our currency systems. Really, the fact remains that we need to understand that all economic actors or players need to have a variety of electronic currency options that allow them to have the same potential for financial success as everyone else through economic incentives, rewards, and assets for all useful contributions to the system that they're participating in. So, as an example, let me just give some examples. We can create as many distinct currencies as are needed by many different organizations. What's interesting is why not just create a police officer's currency? Why not create a fireman's currency? Why not create a, campaign currency for all the politicians that really takes politics out of it and lets it just be a general fund for them to, do whatever it is they're doing, tell all their lies. Why not have something like a scientist fund, for here, a scientist currency? Like, for instance, if a scientist, instead of just having the Nobel Peace Prize, oh, I got the Nobel Prize, why not have a currency where they publish papers, where they produce valuable content, they acquire a currency? See, these are the things to think about. You could have a scholar's currency, a philosopher's currency, a spiritual currency. In other words, you could create all kinds of alternative currencies that are for all these people who aren't really represented by the existing currencies. And they can work because these are just, a currency is just a system of exchange and trade. So we can create as many currencies as we desire, as many as we need, and we can have a system where everybody can, be successful financially. So that's the basic premise. I hope all the ideas are clear, and I'll try to write them out clearly in the description. Thanks.